Hey, long time no see. Well, for those of you who know me, long time no see, but for those of you who don't, welcome to my new channel. So I have been off of social media completely since I think March, maybe February. Kind of at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2023, I challenged myself to do a new habit every month. And so in the past years, I've challenged myself to complete like some 30-day challenge or something like that every month. And I've set goals to meet at the end of each month. I found that was just one way that I could help myself keep on track to reach the goals that I have or to reach the milestones that I wanted to set for my family or for myself. So this year was just a little bit different. I don't know if this was just a culmination of the Lord working in me, working towards convicting me of some sin issues that I was having in my life, or if this was just growth on a personal level, things or something like that. It was, hindsight being what it is, it was probably both actually, among other things. So anyways, what I started doing was I started deleting my social media channels. I got rid of Instagram back in, I think, January, because I started there because that was the easiest thing to get rid of. That wasn't really what I was struggling with in terms of like what I was addicted to. Facebook was really my addiction. And that sounds somewhat silly compared to like, real addictions, I guess, if you want to call it that. There are people in my immediate family that struggle with real addictions, and social media to me had become somewhat of an addiction. So I kind of wanted to use this video to talk a little bit about one, why I got rid of social media, two, what inspired me to do it, and three, how I did it. And it's ironic, I know, that I'm talking about getting rid of social media on a social media platform. I do want to kind of defend that decision a little bit because I feel like YouTube is not actually social media, at least not for me. For me, YouTube is where I go to find content creators that I'm interested in their content, wherein Facebook and Instagram were more like escape mechanisms. So I don't use YouTube the same way that I used Facebook and Instagram. And I didn't use Instagram the same way that I used Facebook, and I didn't use Twitter at all. And I still use Pinterest, but again, it doesn't, for me, Pinterest is where I go to specifically find things that I'm looking for, and I use YouTube the same way. So I'm kind of hoping that this helps people who are also struggling with a social media problem, and gives you some tools and hopefully some courage to just cut the cord. Because I cannot tell you, it has been, well, I'll get there. So I want to talk a little bit about how social media had, like, my history with it and how it impacted me. So the first social media I ever got onto was MySpace. I'm truly a millennial, so as much as I hate saying that, I am. So MySpace was like just a place where you could do music. Essentially, you had like a profile with your friends and music. And then you could like post photos, but with old clunky camera phones. And you could also like send messages to each other. So it was the pre-Facebook thing. Facebook came out when I was a senior or junior in high school, and you had to have, at that point in time, you had to have a college email address to even access Facebook. Well, I had just gotten accepted to college, so I did have a college email address. So I guess I was an early adopter of Facebook, and I found it simple. It was Facebook back then in 2003, 2004 was what Twitter essentially is today, just not as connected. You had to know the person to be able to see what they were posting, and it was limited to like, I don't know, 100 characters or something like that. You couldn't just post like a wall of text, or even, I don't even think you could post photos at that point in time. It was very, very simple. I got it because our college administration person suggested that I do, since that was how they were they were like using Facebook to do some like student government association stuff, as far as like announcements and whatnot. So I didn't get Facebook initially for the social media aspect. I got it because that was how my specific college was doing student announcements. So it was very, very basic. And I wasn't on Facebook the way that I was as an adult when I was in college. And I guess I was an adult then too, because I was 18, 19. But it didn't have the same type of appeal. It was very clunky. It was very simple. There wasn't a lot that you could do on it. And then of course it morphed over time to become the behemoth that it is now. And I think I've always said that I don't necessarily have like an addictive personality, but I do find aspects of my personality that enjoy getting addicted to different things, and not like drugs or alcohol necessarily. That's something that I did in my past, but not in the last 20 years. And there is this element of my personality that's always trying to seek an escape of whatever I'm attempting to, like whatever responsibilities I have, my duties and responsibilities. So it used to be pre social media. It was video games like The Sims, Elder Scrolls, that kind of thing. And then also partying, clubbing, that kind of stuff. So that was pre-children even. Then after that, it was work. Once I had my son, my escape was work. I threw myself into a lot of like network marketing stuff. I threw myself into a lot of money making things, and I was good at it. So, I listened to a lot of what culture tells women, which is that you also need to be a man. It's not good enough to be a mom and a wife and a homemaker, and what you must also go work for another man, and you must also provide like a man. So like there was a lot of that going on. So I was using work and my workaholic-ishness to escape my responsibilities at home. And then I was also, so once I kind of burned out, like I have that workaholic personality or that addictive personality where I will find one thing and I will do it until I can no longer do it. So that was like network marketing and sales for me. I did it crazy hardcore, and I became very successful at it. And then I was completely burned out. I had gained, 70 or 80 pounds in a couple of years. I was throwing everything I had at that, and I was completely ignoring my duties and responsibilities that the Lord had given to me. And at that time, I wasn't really walking as a Christian, so I can't look back at that with a lot of regret. It was just where I was. And I know that, hindsight being what it is, I'm in a different mindset. I'm in a different stage of life. I'm even further along in like my sanctification process, where I can look back at that and I can see that was dumb. What I was doing was dumb. But at the time, it was normal. It was what all the other girl bosses or boss moms were doing. So like, it just seemed normal. So fast forward a little bit, and I find myself using Facebook like just an escape hatch. Anytime life gets difficult, I go to Facebook and I'm on there for hours. An embarrassing amount of time. So much time that I could have become like a master of any skill that I wanted to learn. Like I'm not joking when I say anywhere between 6 and 12 hours a day on various social media sites. And it might not have been like a binge, like it wasn't like 6 straight hours or 12 straight hours, but when you add up the amount of times that I would be doing something and get interrupted and pick up my phone and then start scrolling, and then scrolling would turn into binging, right? So, not 6 straight hours through the day, but really not that far off. So social media became this drug, my drug of choice, apparently, something along those lines. And so I was praying back in, I think 2021. I was praying about the things that I need to let go of, like the idols that I had and the things that were causing me harm, causing the people around me harm. And social media was there at the forefront of my mind. And I was like, nope, not letting go of that. That's my last escape hatch. That's how I get out of having duties and responsibilities, right? I can just go to the internet. And so I found myself actually like doing more things with skills and things at home, trying to make up for the time that I was spending on social media. And I would pull back. I took for years, I've taken June off of social media entirely. I can't stand the agenda that gets pushed in June, just in your face, nonstop. It just makes me absolutely insane. So for years, I've taken June off of social media, and I don't know why I didn't realize it, but by July, I felt so productive and refreshed and ready to actually take on more duties and responsibilities in my home and with the people that I'm supposed to be caring for. So clearly there was a connection with my mental health, my physical health, my emotional health, and social media. And now this isn't like to convince you to quit social media. This is if you're already looking for reasons to get off of social media. This is just how I did it. So in 2022, I gave myself a limit. I don't know if you know you can do this, but on most of your phones and apps, you can give yourself a limit for different apps. So I would give myself like a 3-hour Facebook limit a day or whatever. And I would consistently go over it. And I would consistently hit the pause button on that app. Like I would tell it, don't remind me again. I know that I'm wasting time on this app. I know that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm not completing my responsibilities. So that little reminder thing, it didn't work for me because I would just ignore it. And I did try taking Facebook off my phone, but I found that when I still had that like connection, when I still had the account, I would consistently put it back on my phone. Like zero self-control when it came to that. Now, when it comes to other things, I have all the self-control in the world, but just not that. So in late 2022, I was talking with a group of friends about my problems with social media and how I'm just wasting so much time on there. And like the usual things got thrown out, like set yourself a timer and don't go over it and all that. And I'm like, well, I've done that, but I'm just not following it. And hold on, I have to sneeze. Now that I've said it, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so anyways, all the usual things were thrown out, like, oh, only do it at night or only do it in between school breaks or whatever. We homeschool. So, but I just found that it wasn't working. And so when I was talking with another friend about it, a very wise friend, she said, if this is an addiction, you keep calling it an addiction, would you tell the person who was addicted to heroin or to meth or whatever, insert the horrible thing that you don't want to be addicted to, insert that horrible thing, would you tell them, oh, only do it at night or only do it in between school breaks or only do it, insert this little chunk of time here, right? Like not everything can be handled in moderation. You shouldn't do crack in moderation. And I'm the type of person who shouldn't do social media, even in moderation. So that was kind of like the moment, the light bulb for me, where I was just finally able to say, wow, okay, if I'm going to, if my words matter, and they do, and I'm going to call this an addiction, then I should treat it as such and I should root it out, which means I have to get rid of it. Like the only way that I can get rid of this addiction is to get rid of the thing that causes the addiction. So the thing that causes the addiction is a sin in me, but by having that escape hatch that I can constantly go to, I'm allowing the temptation to be in my life, and I shouldn't allow that. It's so simple, but it was so not simple, right? Because we use social media for everything. All of our homeschooling groups are on Facebook. That's how they do all of their organization. My church is on Facebook. That's how they do their announcements. Everything is on social media. And if you're not on social media, it's like you don't exist. And I know that I have come across people who are like, yeah, I just don't do social media. And I'm always like, how? How do you function? So in January, I started putting things up on Facebook Marketplace. January of this year, I started putting things up on Facebook Marketplace with the idea that once I sold the things I was trying to sell, I would delete my account. And I held on a little bit longer than that. I did, however, start cutting the cord. Like, I got out of all the groups. That's how I started. I curated my news feed so that I wasn't seeing anything from anybody that I didn't want to see. And there's something about that too. Like, if I have to block the people that are on my newsfeed, why are they on my newsfeed, kind of thing? I don't know. And the more I question things like that, the more I was like, this is dumb. Why am I even on this platform? Like, I know I say I have to be on it because that's where my homeschool groups are and that's where all the events are, and how am I going to keep up with the news? Because that's how I keep up with the news. Well, none of that's true, because I can access all that stuff in other ways. It's just slightly less convenient. So in, I think, January or February, I deleted Instagram, and but Instagram wasn't really the problem. Like, Instagram, I was just looking at the pictures and the reels, honestly. But I could spend hours looking at Instagram reels. So I was wasting a lot of time with that. But Instagram didn't elicit the same type of addiction response that Facebook did for me. So by, I think, the end of February and maybe the beginning of March, I was ready to cut Facebook. I just had several really bad interactions with family members, with community members and things like that. And a lot of it was dumb stuff. It was stuff like family members that disagreed with me politically or disagreed with my religion or whatever, and I would post something and they would respond to it in the exact way that I could have guessed that they would have responded. And so it became this beast. It just became this thing that I just didn't want to deal with anymore. And I think I had to get to the point where I recognized how detrimental social media was to my emotional, social, physical, mental, all of my health. And how it was actually robbing my family of my time. So my immediate family, my family that lives in my house that I am responsible for, not my family that's scattered around the country that I'm not responsible for. So it became really clear that it had to go. And so I spent a couple of days going through my photo albums and downloading the pictures that I wanted to keep. And then I put all those pictures into picture books and I printed them out. And then once that was done, I hit the account delete button, and they make it so difficult for you to delete your account. They send you reminders. Oh, are you sure you want to do this? You get 60 days or 30 days, I can't even remember anymore, to change your mind. And I was like, yeah, I really want to do this. It was finally coming clean. I don't know. I've never had an intervention, but I assume that this is kind of what someone would feel like once you've had that first, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get clean sort of moment. And then for about a week afterwards, there was a lot of temptation. I took Facebook off my phone. I had to take messages off my phone. I had to just consistently remind people. They'd be like, oh, I tried to message you and saw that your account's inactive. And I had to consistently remind people I'm not on Facebook anymore. And people would be like, oh, we'll see how long that lasts, because I take every June off. So it would only last for a month then. But anyways, I just had to be like, no, this is permanent. I'm not, and make it a goal for myself to get past that 30-day period where they allow you to get your account back. And I had to, rope in some accountability partners, some girlfriends who knew that I struggled with social media addiction, my husband who knew that was taking time away from our family, just different reminders no, I actually have better things to do with my time than to be on Facebook for 6 to 12 hours a day. So it's funny because I would say things like, I don't have time to work out, or I don't have time to dress nicely. I don't have time to do my hair. I don't have time to do my makeup. I don't have time to plan for dinner. I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, the truth it was that I did have time. I was just choosing to spend my time on something irrelevant, and that didn't matter. So now I'm not saying that that's like everybody's problem, but that's probably a large portion of people who say they don't have time. Well, you do have time, actually. It's what are you choosing to spend your time on? And does it align with your priorities? Because mine didn't. The places that I was choosing to spend my time didn't align with my goals and my priorities. So by nixing the temptation to even go spend time online was super helpful. It was the thing that needed to break. And so now here we are in July. So I haven't had social media since, I want to say I was able to delete Facebook in February. I'm not 100% positive. So I haven't had social media for about 4 or 5 months, something along those lines. February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 5 or 6 months now. So I haven't wanted to go back. Those first couple of weeks were pretty tough. I found myself like picking up my phone just to I don't know, to browse, to do. It would be like I would get bored, or I would be in an uncomfortable social situation, like in a group setting, and there would be people who were talking that I didn't really want to talk to, and I would like pick up my phone and be like, oh, what never mind, it's not there, and I have to put my phone back down, and I would have to deal with those uncomfortable situations or those uncomfortable feelings, and that actually taught me a lot about the things that I found to be uncomfortable. So that was probably a couple weeks where I just kept picking up my phone and being like, let me scroll. I'm bored, So I had to actually like redirect myself. Like you redirect a toddler, I had to like redirect myself a lot where I would be like, okay, I'm picking up my phone. You know what? Let me go find something to clean. Let me go find something to cook. Let me go find something to make. Let me go find something to do because clearly I'm bored and I don't enjoy being bored. So I'm looking to fill my time with something here. So after those first couple of weeks where I was just trying to find stuff to do, I actually got really productive. I taught myself to crochet. I taught myself more embroidery techniques. I taught myself how to pressure can. I was teaching myself how to make different things. I taught myself how to care for curly hair. I was just like picking a new skill and going for it. And I found that I had all this time to do those things. Whereas before I didn't really have that time because I was wasting a lot of time. So those first couple of months I was super, super productive. And then it really calmed down after that where I was like, okay, I can read a book. I can practice music. I can paint. I actually have time for hobbies now, and I didn't have time for hobbies before. So that's been really, really interesting, and super enjoyable. So I would say like the number one, I guess, piece of advice that I have for anyone who's looking to get rid of social media is to just do it. Find a reason to do it, and then do it. Cut the cord. If it's creating a problem in your life, if it's creating a problem with your mental health, if it's creating a problem with your physical or spiritual health, and it probably is, if you're anything like me, it probably is, then cut it out, get rid of it. It's not worth you having it. And if there's like a certain platform that just causes the problems for me, that would be Facebook. I'm sorry, my dog is being dumb. Manji, quit. So if there's a certain platform that's causing the major problems, that's the one to cut. Don't dilly-dally around. I cut Instagram first, and even though I knew that wasn't the one that was really causing the problems, just go cold turkey and do it. Don't bother setting timers for yourself. Don't bother with all the little steps, because if you're like me, you'll just cancel them and you'll ignore them, and it won't. And then you'll be like, oh, see, I can't even do the little steps. No, just go cold turkey. Get rid of it. It's not worth what it's doing to you and to your family. So that's my encouragement for you. I hope that you found this helpful. I would say if you have any questions, you can find me on such platform, but you can't. I'm only here. I do have a blog, The Hitch Inn, on WordPress. I don't update it very often, but there are some like back blogs. I should get better about doing that. I actually think that a vlog style, a video blog, would probably suit me better. But anyways, I hope you guys found that helpful and encouraging, and I'll be praying for you. So I hope you pray for me too. Bye.